Thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Frank Omalapia. Here are some of the stories we're filing at this time. A military jet was on Friday involved in a near crash at Yola Airport in Adamawa State. The aircraft suddenly lost two of its rear tires while it was trying to take off. The jet is believed to be one of those being urged for area bombardment of insurgents in the northeast, including Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe State. There was panic among airport users and workers when the engine of the aircraft, which was already taxiing, was suddenly switched off. When the alarm was raised, airport officials, including firefighters and security operatives, were quickly mobilized. Some of them drove to the scene in a white patrol van to ascertain the situation. The initial rumor was that the jet was on fire, but the officials debunked the information when they returned from the scene. The development led to the temporary closure of the airport's runway to traffic. In a bid to end the reign of terror in the northeastern part of the country, President Goodluck Jonathan has increased the number of troops in the region from 15,000 to 20,000. Coordinating Minister for the Economy and Minister of Finance, Ocotober, will disclose this in a lecture delivered at a forum in London. Also confirmed that Boko Haram had killed more than 170 teachers in Borno State this year. The text of the lecture was made available to journalists in Abuja on Friday. The minister also disclosed that the nation lost more than 100,000 barrels daily to international oil thieves working in alliance with criminal elements in Nigeria. President Goodluck Jonathan has accepted offers from the international community for more surveillance aircraft cover and equipment that enhances our ability to locate, fight, and root out insurgents. And now Gabon has assured Nigeria of supporting its ongoing war against terrorism. The special envoy of President Ali Bongo of Gabon delivered the message at an audience with President Goodluck Jonathan. He welcomed the decision to form a multinational force and pledged the commitment of countries in the Central African sub-region of efforts to check terrorism. Jonathan also applauded the renewed commitment of Niger, Chad, Benin Republic, and Cameroon to join forces with Nigeria to rid the sub-region of terrorism and violent extremism. He argued that terrorist attacks on one country must be seen as an affront to all civilized nations, while calling for even stronger and more effective regional, continental, and global alliance against terrorism. Now, Cameroon authorities have denied a report that Boko Haram has released the wife of the country's deputy prime minister and some Chinese hostages. Communication Minister Issa Bakare said he was surprised by the news that some hostages kidnapped in northern Cameroon have been freed. The report had claimed that Amadou Ali's wife and 10 Chinese workers had been freed after ransom was paid, but Cameroon officials say the hostages are still with the insurgents. The Chinese workers were found missing and believed to be taken on May 15 after an attack at a Chinese work site in northern Cameroon, while the deputy prime minister's wife was kidnapped on July 27 by Boko Haram insurgents. And now the federal government has warned that 29 million Nigerians stand the risk of contracting Lassa fever. It also revealed that 26 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, are exposed to the disease that is as deadly as Ebola virus. Minister of State for Health Kaliru Al-Hassan said at a press briefing in commemoration of the National Lassa Fever Day that health workers are mostly at risk.
Despite the discovery of Lassa fever in Nigeria 45 years ago, that will tell you how old Professor Harry is. He was in the medical school 40 years ago. So majority of us here were not even born at that time. So that means this disease is as old as anybody can get. The viral agent continues to pose an increasing public health threat to the population, especially with the rapid expansion of its frontiers. Initially, only very few states in Nigeria are endemic to this disease. But now, looping some of 26 states, including the FCT, we shall note that Lassa fever is both of regional and of international importance. Over the years, outbreaks of Lassa fever of varying magnitude and severity have occurred in Nigeria. Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone. During these outbreaks, the case fatality can be as high as 50 to 80%. This is telling you that it's as deadly as Ebola. Each year, we are confronted with outbreak of Lassa fever in several parts of the country with increasing magnitude and intensity. In 2012, the outbreak occurred in 26 states of the Federation, with a total case of 1,944 cases, with 207 deaths, including death of doctors and nurses. That still will tell you how dangerous it is, the health worker. This is the hemorrhagic fever that are most deadly to our dear doctors, nurses, and other health workers.
At the beginning, Lassa fever, also had international attention, just like Ebola is having now. But within a short period of time, a drug was identified that can be used to treat cases of Lassa, and case fatality rate or mortality rate was reduced. So people became less frightened by the disease. But as it were, Ebola, so far no drug, no vaccine. And this is why, it's creating the scare.
One of the governorship aspirants of the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State, Tony Prince-Will, is seeking an investigation into the attack on party members in Abuja. He described the incident at the venue of a meeting to reconcile aspirants as an embarrassment to Nigeria's democracy. Prince Tony Prince-Will said in a statement that no individual's ambition is more important than the peace and development of the state. Prince-Will, who said he avoided the meeting on advice, also apologized on behalf of the people to President Jonathan and the party's leadership. The committee set up to reconcile aggrieved members of the People's Democratic Party in the South-South region insists that governors or ministers from the area cannot influence them. The panel was reacting to allegations by some aggrieved members from Rivers State that the Minister of State for Education, Nyesom Wike, had compromised them. The committee, which ended in sitting in Abuja on Friday, also assured petitioners that its recommendations will promote internal democracy in the party. A committee chairman here, Abubakar, told journalists at the end of the three-day session that the panel had useful and productive interactions with individuals and groups who appeared before it. You're watching CoreTV News. We'll take a short break. We'll be back shortly with more stories.
Glad to have you join us on another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
Give me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before it perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly, and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on CoreTV News.
Glad to have you back now. For more information on our news, visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also visit our Twitter at CoreTV News NG and youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space, then news. And now the Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola and his Kano State counterpart Rabiu Kwankwaso have come down hard on what they describe as a brazen disregard for the judiciary. The two governors spoke against the backdrop of the recent attack on the courts in Ekiti State by hoodlums and the continued closure of the State High Court complex in Ado-Ekiti. Fashola will also deliver a lecture in Ado-Ekiti on the role of law in governance and development. Says the level of impunity displayed by politicians is a dangerous trend which must be challenged, and thoughts echoed by Kwankwaso. A correspondent Rashid reports.
The level of compliance to law has widely been accepted as being commensurate with the level of development in nations. Speaking on the role of law in governance and development, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says the brazen attack on the judiciary in Ekiti is an example of the impunity of people in authority and those who hope to benefit from the judiciary treating it with disregard.
It is a governor who approves and appoints the chief judge with the concurrence of the House of Assembly before the chief judge is also sworn in now by the governor before he or she can begin to act. And it is curious if somebody who wants to benefit from such a process is also undermining that process.
Fashola says the disregard of the nation's law by the PDP-controlled central government and its habit of providing poverty for Nigerians while exporting employment and the nation's wealth should be condemned by all well-meaning Nigerians.
Country, we are taking jobs away from here, and to reinforce the fact that once we turn away from law, only few will benefit. That's why you will see that several thousands in a state will nearly kill themselves, and even some kill themselves in order to partake in an advertisement of no more than 5,000 jobs across the whole of Nigeria.
Speaking in the same vein, Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso says he is saddened by the invasion of the Ekiti State High Court in Ado-Ekiti, but also urged the Ekiti State Judiciary to fight for itself through the use of the law and its proper implementation.
The level of desperation is so much that people are really concerned about what has happened. And I believe at the end of the day, something is likely going to happen, especially from the side of the judiciary itself, because at the end of the day, probably they will take certain actions that will discourage such action in the future.
On the current challenges facing the nation, Kwankwaso put all the blame firmly on the doorsteps of the federal government while expressing optimism that 2015 elections will bring about the required change for the country.
Nobody, I believe, except very few who, for one reason or the other, are benefiting from the monumental corruption that is happening in this country, and also some hawks that are in Abuja who are also benefiting from the challenges that this country is facing. And therefore, we are so happy that progressive people have come together in this country to ensure that the federal government of Nigeria, come 2015, by the grace of God, will be captured by APC.
The Kano State Governor had earlier, as part of his visit, opened the newly rehabilitated Ire Bricks factory for commencement of operation. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
Adamawa State Governor Balangilari has described the judiciary as the last hope of the common man, which must be supported and made efficient. Gilari made a statement while swearing in the acting chief judge of the state, Ishaya Kadibano.
Do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999. So help me God.
Ngilari says governance cannot be said to be complete until the judiciary is empowered to function independently.
There will always be dissension and disagreement between the executive and the legislature, as you very well know. I am myself a product divinely ordained to be here by virtue of the fact that while there was misunderstanding between judiciary and, between the legislative and the executive of government as regards when resignation takes effect or when it does not take effect or when indeed a resignation is deemed to exist in law. It was the
In his response, Bano promised to carry out his duties professionally.
Your Excellency, on behalf of the Adamawa State Judiciary, I pledge our loyalty to your administration and will, to the best of our abilities, avoid doing anything deliberately that will bring the administration to disrepute. We pray that Your Excellency, being one of us, will give us all the necessary support within the limited resources at your disposal to enable us to discharge our functions effectively.
Meanwhile, members of the Adamawa State Traditional Council, led by the Lamido of Adamawa Muhammad Ali Mustafa, on Friday paid a courtesy call on the new governor Balange Lare. The traditional rulers commend the governor's humility, describing it as a virtue that will be useful in leading the state to a place of glory. The entourage comprises all first-class traditional rulers in the state.
Gentlemen, is really the type we need to lead the state to the situation I mentioned, peaceful and successful. So inshallah we will succeed.
Nglare thanked the traditional rulers for the visit and says they are the custodians of peace in the society. He advocated the constitutionalization of the role of traditional rulers in Nigeria.
And this is why I've always made the point that if, as I've argued, people expect much from you, you've been doing it, why don't they just constitutionalize your roles in the Constitution?
The Nigerian Postal Service has since January 2014 intercepted scam mails and counterfeit bank instruments worth over 13 billion naira for Postmaster General Ibrahim Baba revealed this at a press briefing in Abuja. He, however, admitted that new technologies have limited NIPO's patronage in the country, as per a Samuel report.
Marking this year's Post Day in Abuja, the Postmaster General says the postal industry will be better off in 2015.
We have identified the following key priorities for urgent action for the year. Priority number one is improvement of quality of service. You agree with me that we won't have any priority number one other than the improvement of quality of service. Priority number two is change in NIPO's business culture. This too, you agree with me that it is something that everybody has to think of doing.
The Postmaster General is worried over the security situation in the country, but he is convinced that things will turn around. He also reeled out statistics on the number of mails handled by NIPOST between January and June 2014.
Despite the security challenges in the country which have adversely affected mail delivery service, there has been improvement in the number of mails handled by NIPOST from January to June 2014 when compared to against the number of traffic handled in the same period in 2013. A total of 24,213,750 mail items were handled as against 19,688,220 in 2013. Of the total traffic handled, 16,144,778 items were posted within the country, whereas 1,132,715 were dispatched abroad, while 6,936,257 were received from abroad.
One thing the Postmaster General is disturbed about is the increase in scam letters. He says 159 counterfeit financial instruments were intercepted.
As a result of physical inspection of documents, postal packets being transmitted through NIPOST, 159 scam letters containing counterfeit financial instruments and other prohibited items were intercepted. In January, 17 items were intercepted, and the values were 149,891,400. In February, 66 such items were also intercepted, and the values were 8,439,690. In September, it also went down with only 2 items being intercepted, and the value of those 2 items alone was 57,225,422 naira 16 kobo. The total value to 13,647,120,284.
For now, the number of Nigerians patronizing NIPOST has declined as a result of new technologies. But as it marks another World Post Day, the government agency says it will continue to make itself relevant in a changing world. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And that's a wrap on CoreTV News at this hour. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. I'll see you again.